So once again, how do you go from low, thin eyebrows to a fuller, lifted eyebrow? Right over here, as you can see, it's much fuller. That's partly because of the color, of course. I want to point out it's the brow gel. Hey everybody, it's Jasmine, your brow expert. Thank you so much for joining me. So today is all about the front of the eyebrow. I touch on this quite a bit throughout my my videos. I mean, you guys could check out some old ones I have. Check out the video I have from last week. But this is all about how to add fullness, how to get a brow lift up at the front. There are some other areas that I do want to touch on. That's very important. But this brow, I believe, is a lot of our brows. And I get some questions asked from my other videos about that. So this might be your video today. So check it out. Let me know if you are learning, and definitely subscribe if you haven't already, and share this because we all have friends and family that can use some of these tips. Let's check out this video. So let's start from the beginning. Okay, so right over here down below is a very important area because it's more curved, right? She likes it a little bit straighter, and I think having it a little bit straighter can be very beneficial. It doesn't have to be for everybody, but the highlighter, it's always hard for me to say that, down below here, that's very, very important because what that creates, as you can see right here, the two lines, it creates a little border. And I believe that that helps for almost all of us, right? It doesn't hurt, and you could always go back to applying some of that highlighter again with the brush 18. So right over here underneath the eyebrows, you don't have to figure out exactly where it is. If you just put it underneath the brows, like just on your skin, it'll just follow the curve of your eyebrows. And then you see that clear little opening right there, especially if you haven't tweezed. Don't worry about that yet. So the powder, you can use a powder. I'm using the taupe powder, and notice that I'm picking up the colors side by side. So that way the brush doesn't flare out, meaning I want the brush to stay sharp. So by picking up the colors side by side, you ensure that the brush stays sharp. So that way, when you press lightly right down below here, that's the important pocket. I can't stress that enough because when you go straighter down below there, you're creating a fuller look. You could also use a pencil. I've said many times you can use it right over here over the eyebrows like a windshield wiper, or just if you got to do it down here, just make sure that you're laying the pencil and just going right at that bottom area, right where you see the highlighter and the eyebrows. And because the brush is angled, it does just a lot of the work for you. Right here, look at me. Right here, I'm patting. You don't have to move the brush. You can also just pat. And that way the color goes on there. And right here down below, make sure you don't go further down this way, but further out, so that way you don't drag the brow down. So the opening, you see that clear opening with the powder. You can use the pencil again, like I said. It's the most important thing is just trying to get that color in between that highlighter and the curved area right there. Is this the most important area? No, but it's pretty important, I think. As long as you apply some color down below, it really will cut that curved look. Nothing wrong with the curve. You're still going to have a curve because especially for her, the brows are a little bit wavy. So she's always going to have it a little bit curved. Notice that I combed the hair down. Comb your hair down here, even though you feel like you don't have any hair. If you just pull it down, you see the roots. See the angle of the brush. Now, because I'm behind her, I could hold the brush this way. If it's you, obviously, you're not going to hold it this way. Same with the pencil. You're laying the brush down and you're pulling the brush down right at the edge of the top area. So when you comb the hair down, I promise you, you'll see a little bit of edge there. You're pulling the brush down, partly because you're pulling the color down. You're pushing the color inside, and you're not having this harsh top area, but you're feeling inside and you're going right at the edge. And always know that I'm going here. I'm not going all the way up in the front. Once I've gotten rid of some of the color, that's when I go up in the front. That's because the most color you're going to have on the brush, obviously, is when you first touch your eyebrows, right? You don't want the front. Then you're going to just go, oh, it's too dark. Then you're spending time combing it out. You want it a little bit darker in the middle. Once you've gotten rid of some of the color, that's when you go up in the front. You notice that I'm just following the natural curve. Ladies, gentlemen, ladies, you don't need to feel like you have to do something different. You're just following, but a shy above. Notice, look at this. I'm combing up the hair. It already looks good, right? And now we're gonna look at these three areas. The three areas is that the bottom area is covered, right? Well, not entirely yet. But the top area just has kind of like enough color, but just slightly. I'm not doing this. I'm just pushing it down. Then the front has a little bit more color. I obviously now I'm gonna get to the front because mine, I purposely just covered it with the concealer so you could see. But now I just switch it off with the pencil. So that way you guys are like, oh, good, because I love a pencil. You know, sometimes a pencil could help, because especially when you don't have as much hair, in those areas where there's more skin, the pencil will pick up the color a little bit more. So right here, notice that I just put a little bit of concealer. I'm just doing this. Now, if you're comfortable doing that, go ahead. Just light pressure. If you forget everything in this video, as long as you do this up in the front, then you just made the biggest difference for your eyebrows, I think, right? I think I did it for myself as well. If you just do this. So right here is where she's missing a lot more hair, which is why I grabbed a pencil, because it picks up the color a little bit more. So obviously you could tell, oh, good. I could use powder and pencil because I have both. I like both. This way, you can just get this little area filled in. You don't have to feel like you got to do your whole eyebrow now. So if you fill in the bottom area here, and you're seeing a couple of gaps that just bothers you, just do this. You don't have to, again, fill it in like you're doing the whole eyebrow, because you have some of that color. Now the brush 18 comes in. Now that highlighter that you put on at the beginning, that's when you just clear it up. Or just clean it up, as I would say. This is optional. You sometimes, if you're in a hurry, just use your finger. But you know what? This brush, I always say this, I think everyone should have this brush, because it just does so much. You could even put a little bit of concealer. I like to put concealer above the brow sometimes if you feel like the highlight is too light. This is where I stress it to every one of my clients. Don't forget the brow gel. I don't have much hair, so we're just going to pretend I put some on. People ask me, oh, my brow gel gets dry. Make sure that you take off as much as you can. Do about 2 or 3 strokes. You don't need much. Then put it immediately back. Go over it with a clean spoolie brush and just move around the clear brow gel. This is really all about just that front, but a little bit down below, but mainly at the top. So I've been listing the makeup that I have on my face, because some of you have asked me to do that, and I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to tell you what I use on my face. I just want to make sure that you guys get as much tips as you can on the eyebrows, because that's the most important thing, because it's the trickiest, right? Hope you guys checked out my Get Ready With Me last week, because every once in a while, I'm going to try to do that, is to show you guys what I do. But, you know, my makeup is so simple. There's not much to it. And there's so many other amazing people. Maybe one day I will show you guys, this is the person you need to watch when you're wanting to learn how to do your whole makeup, especially for those of you that are 50 plus. As we get older, I'm kissing my 60s. We need a little bit more attention in some areas and less in other areas. I love it when you guys ask me some questions. It lets me know that you guys are learning. And thank you for your attention. And I'll see you guys next week.